money, 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 money. Your relationship with money matters, and it is not something that you can continue to avoid or dismiss if you want to have the type of success that you know is possible for you. Or maybe you don't know it. And on today's episode, I'm going to help you identify if you have a healthy or an unhealthy relationship with money. And I'm going to give you a trick to help you feel more empowered with your finances. So I want to tell you a little story about a student of mine who's also become a very good friend. And she will probably know that I'm speaking about her, but you guys aren't going to know who she is. So she has been struggling with finances. She has doubled her business over the past year, and she is still struggling with finances. She is doing multiple six figures in her business, and she is still struggling with her finances as if she was doing a 5-figure business. So I've known her about 1.5 years, almost 2 years. We have been having the same conversations for the entire time. And I've started to get really firm in coaching her and being very direct with her and helping guide her through the mindsets that she can earn more money, but the same version of her that struggled at $150,000 and is still the same version of her that is struggling with money at $300,000. What do you think is going to be her reality or her life at $500,000 or $1 million? It's going to be the exact same conversation that I'm having with her again here 18 months later or a year later, where she says things like, this has to work or I'm done. I can't do this anymore. Or we're broke. We can't afford to live. Or my husband's super supportive, but he's like, it's time to end things. It's time to cut ties with the business because she is just struggling financially. She's like, I don't know how we're going to live anymore. And I'm having deja vu because we had this conversation at the exact same time last year. And so it's hard for me to be like, yes, okay, yes, this is going to be it, because she doesn't believe it's going to be it for herself. And even when I'm suggesting things like, I think you need some therapy to really identify where these self-sabotaging behaviors come in. Or I'm saying, where did you spend your money? You are doing double what you did last year. And she's like, I don't know. I had to do everything to keep the business alive. And in all of that, she's making excuses. And I love you, the girl who this is, but you're playing victim. You're playing victim to your circumstances, because the version of you 1 year ago would have been over the moon with the revenue that you have this year. And yet you are still the exact same person. You will still have the same mindset. You are still making the same decisions that are keeping you in the circumstance where you feel like you're broke, your family has no flexibility, that you have no, lifestyle, you're just scraping by, yet your sales have doubled. And so how many of you can relate to that same type of feeling where you look at where you were 1 year ago, and now you might have some of the things that you wished for, that you were desperate to have 1 year ago, yet you still don't feel like it's enough. You still don't feel like you've achieved anything, or you've reached what you should be, or you should call yourself successful, that you're not there yet. Because that happens to most people until you, the one who controls the thoughts and the actions, changes. And nothing changes until you change. So if you're having the same thoughts, feelings, experience that you did 1 year ago, and you're like, is this even worth it? Do you even recognize how far you've come in 1 year? Now, one thing that I do, I would say on a quarterly basis, and sometimes I recommend students do this as well, is I actually go back into my photo album to 1 year ago, and I look at what was going on at that time in my life, to come from a place of gratitude for how far I've come in 1 year. Because we often overestimate what we can do in a day, but we underestimate what we can do in 1 year. And it's so easy in our current circumstances to think like, oh my God, this is just terrible. How am I supposed to get through this? And we're overwhelmed with how sad and pathetic our life is, because gosh, we've been doing this for 1 year and nothing's happening. But I challenge you, go into your phone. If you have an iPhone, I know you can go to photos instead of albums, and you can go back really easy to about 1 year ago. For me, 1 year ago, I had just moved in with my parents, with my kids. My husband and I were on the rocks, and I had just started antidepressants. And here we are 1 year later, we've bought a home. Our family's back together. I don't live with mom and dad anymore. A lot has happened in that year. So when I look at things that stress me out, either in my business or in my life, I look back to where I was a year ago. And I'm so grateful for the journey that I've been on this year, so that at this time of my life, that these are my problems. And all of a sudden my problems don't seem as scary or challenging or overwhelming, because I know where I was last year and how far we've come in that year. And I recommend that you do that too. If you feel like you look back last year and it's the same thing that you're experiencing this year, that would be a red flag for me, to know that I actually have to do a lot of work over the next year to not be that same person another year from now. So we're going to get into some teaching points today about your relationship with money and your mindset around money, because as an entrepreneur, you cannot dismiss, deny, put your head in the sand when it comes to money, because your business is meant to make money. It's not a business if it doesn't make money. And so if you are going to have a business and be hashtag Lash Boss, then you need to have a healthy relationship with money, because the more you get into business, the more you actually have to lose. And so we want to make sure that we have a healthy mindset around money. So the first teaching point really ties in with what we talked about last week, is that your thoughts are so powerful. And most of you have no idea that you can even control your thoughts. You just let thoughts come in and come out just willy-nilly, without even saying, why am I thinking this? Or where did that come from? Or can I stop thinking this because it's not serving me anymore? You are so married to that this is your reality that you don't even know that you actually created that in your head. But Tara, I know I can't pay bills next month. Like, I see what's in the bank account and I see what my bill is and they don't add up. I get that. And we're going to get into what caused that in just a little bit. But your thoughts are so powerful. Some ways that you can identify how powerful your thoughts are is looking at your price point. Are you priced lower than somebody else? Was that a decision that you made to price yourself lower than your competition? Did you somehow assign your worth and your value to a dollar amount? You know, money doesn't have that kind of power, right? Like, money doesn't define your worth. It's simply, I mean, at least here in the US, it's a piece of paper, or it's like little metal coins. It does not have the power to decide whether you're good or bad or right or wrong. It literally is a piece of paper. Now, our beliefs around money define what we see ourselves as worth. So this whole kind of charge your worth conversation to me is a bunch of BS, because what does that even mean? There is no finite answer for that. It's like, charge your worth. Okay, $180 a full set. Some of you were laughing going, I'd never charge $180. And it could be on both sides of the spectrum. Some of you think $180 is really expensive. Some of you think $180 isn't worth your time to pick up a tweezer. Who's right? Nobody's right. We assign a value to money based on our experiences. And I got into this last episode, so we're not going to go too deep on that. We can go back and listen to last week's episode. But the belief you have around money is crazy powerful, because that's what influences our decisions around spending, what's worth our time and our money and what is not, what our results that we get our clients is worth. We oftentimes project our money issues onto our clients, which is why a lot of lash artists aren't comfortable charging a premium price point. I would never pay $200 for lashes. Ooh, no. But your money beliefs are not the same as your clients. There are some clients who are like, I would never pay under $200 for lashes. No. Who's right? There is no right. Money is just a tool. It does not have a meaning or a belief behind it until you assign it one. That's how powerful your thoughts are. That likely came from how you were raised. Your parents were like, money doesn't grow on trees, and always like following you around, turning off the light switches because, you know, energy is money and all of this. And we learn that from such a young age. And a lot of us, if you're like 30 or above, your parents were kind of around the Depression age, maybe a little bit, just their parents were a part of the Depression age. And so they have this scarcity mindset because money was scarce during the Depression. And there was a lot of fear that surrounded money. And there's a lot of unhealthy relationships with money in society that we then learn from our parents, that money is a scary thing. But it's just a tool. It is literally, it's a piece of paper that we put so much meaning behind and so much emotion into. And yet, at the end of the day, it's a piece of paper. So what comes first? Your belief about money or the results that you want? So if you wait until you make $100,000 and then you'll feel successful, or some of you, it's even like $10,000 or like $10 in your lash business because you haven't even started. You have this financial number that you're like, when I reach this, I know I'll be successful. But the same person who's operating and making decisions today on how money is spent and how money comes into your business or your life and how money leaves and goes out your business is going to be the same person that when you reach this, it's enough, I'm successful level, you're not going to feel like it's enough or you're successful because you're continuing along the same pattern of either self-sabotaging behavior or that, like my friend, she's doubled her revenue. I even asked her if a year ago you knew that you'd be making this kind of money this year, how would you feel? And she was like, I would have been over the moon excited. And I'm like, then why are you not over the moon excited? You're making this amount of money. That's the truth. Like, you doubled your income over the past year, and yet your personal income, what you're paying yourself, is pennies. It's still nothing. It's still nothing that's going to make you feel like it's worth the effort that you've put in over this past year. Where do you think all of that money went? If she went from $150,000 last year to $300,000 this year, granted, she's not a solo lash artist, so let me just put that disclaimer out here. But if she doubled her income, or her revenue, different than income, where do you think all that money went? And that's what I'm actually having her do right now. And one thing I'm going to suggest you do is look at your top 10 expenses for the past year. Where did that money go? It did not go to paying her. And that was a big shift I've had to learn this year. And the biggest shift for me was putting myself on payroll this year. So no matter what, I was making a choice twice a month to give myself a paycheck. And it's not all I make. It's just the bare minimum of what I would pay myself. But I am accountable now in my business to pay myself on payroll a paycheck twice a month. To me, that was a big deal in having consistent income and not having this kind of feast or famine lifestyle that entrepreneurs can start to do. When you're a lash artist and you're just starting out, your income is going to be pretty inconsistent. It is. And it's hard the first couple months or first year because you don't know how consistent your business is going to be. So it's hard to predict how much money you can make. That's why it's really hard to charge rock bottom prices, because even if you have a lot of clients and you're at rock bottom prices, you're still not consistently able to pay yourself. You're just feeding money back into the business to keep its doors open. But is that why you got into business ownership in the first place, was just to keep your business's doors open? Or did you want to have a little bit left over for you? How can you take what you're making right now and set some aside for the owner? You have control over that. Nobody's going to come in and tell you, okay, you've made $2,000 this month. You get to take home $500. You don't have a boss. You are the boss. You get to decide where that money goes. And for all of y'all who continue to invest in lash training after lash training, thinking that that's going to grow your business and make you more money in the future, I really want to challenge that belief. It's not that I don't support lash educators. In fact, I tell most of my students to go into lash education because it's a really easy way to make additional money once you've reached a certain level in your business. I think there are phenomenal trainers out there who charge premium price points, and amen to them. But the value, you have to be able to monetize the investment you made into that training and get it back out of your business. I can't think of too many industries where they just spend money just to spend money. Like, if you already know how to do volume lashes, is spending another $2,000 on a volume lash training really going to blow your mind? Is it really going to be worth the investment? Some of you, yes, it absolutely will be. Others of you just feel like you need to have another certificate on your wall. And it adds no other value other than just you kind of being creative and expressing your artistry in a new way, which I'm all for it. But let's be intentional about that choice, that we're not investing this into the business, we're investing it into ourselves as a personal choice to like grow our artistry. Because our clients aren't going to notice a difference between, us not going to their training and a $2,000 training. So what comes first, the chicken or the egg? The belief that you are successful, or that when you reach this level of success or this dollar amount that you'll be successful then, or the result that, hey, I've made it and now I have the money and now I'm wealthy. In the case of my friend and in the case of most of you, you have to have the belief first that you have a healthy relationship with money, that the more you make, the more impact you have, that if I reach $10,000 either this year or this month, that I will then identify myself as successful. I think you can be a success now. I think you can look at the money you're making, the fact that you started a business, and go, I am successful now, and I'm going to act and treat money the way a successful person does. And you may not have too many examples of that in your life of how money is handled healthily. Is that even a word? Healthfully? I'm tripping over it. But if you look at around you and you don't know how money is handled in a healthy way, then I suggest join the society. We've got a lot of healthy money people in there, but to get mentors in your life who can advise you in a healthy way of where money is spent. Go find fellow lash artists that are successful, that aren't just blowing money, or that they actually have some left over that they can then not only pay themselves, but invest in themselves or share the love and spread the money around. If you have $5 left in your account, you know what I'm going to tell you to do? Give it away. Yeah. If you had a healthy relationship with money, you would know that that money would come back to you twofold, threefold, tenfold, because money is a tool. And if you can bless someone, or if you can make someone's day better with that $5, rather than you thinking and stressing over, I only have $5, how much more of an impact could that $5 have on somebody else, as opposed to you who's stressing about it? You get to control what money means to you in your life. So I'm not saying go give all your money away. I'm not. But I want you to know that you're not a victim to your circumstances, that you have made a series of choices to get you to the circumstances you have. Now, I'm going to have you right now go look at your bank account, or maybe you already know what's in there. That will define for you what your relationship with money is like. If you look at your bank account and you feel negative, you feel stressed, you feel scarce, you feel unsure, it's worrisome when looking at your bank account, that should be a red flag to you that you have an unhealthy relationship with money. Whereas if you look at your bank account and you feel free and abundant, and that there isn't too many hiccups that are going to throw you financially, then you likely have a very healthy relationship with money. And you can reteach yourself all of this mindset around money. I've gone through that over the past year. I used to feel like, I talked about this last episode, that I was irresponsible with money. But I look at my bank account now and I can breathe a breath of fresh air, because I've gone through the steps of making a budget, so I know what is enough for my family. And I know when we have more than enough, because then we can invest in like vacations and the fun things, because I know exactly the dollar amount that needs to be enough for my family's expenses to be covered. For the first 10 years of my marriage, we didn't know that. We would just, some months would be better than others, and we'd always have the same feeling of never having enough. So if you're looking at your bank account, or you don't even want to look at your bank account, what is that saying about your relationship with money? So what I'm going to this little trick I'm going to teach you today to kind of work on your relationship with money is, I want you to decide the type of relationship you want to have with money. Right now, either I'm okay with where my relationship is with money, or I want a better relationship with money. Two choices, pick one. If your relationship is, I want to get better with money, stick around, let's go through this. I want you to create a financial goal. Whatever that is, let's do a year from now. It is now September 2020, if you're listening to this when it's released, and you have now reached that goal that you had set back in September 2019. We're going to future cast this. So I want you to think about, how do you feel when you've reached that financial income? And you're going to have like a set dollar amount, whether it's X amount in savings or X amount a month in income, or, whatever that financial goal is to you. I don't want to put my goals on you, but whatever your financial goal is, I want you to think about what your lifestyle looks like, what your life looks like. I want you to think as if I'm following you around with a camera. What is it I'm seeing when you've reached your goal? How are you feeling? Do you feel light? Do you feel free? Do you feel like you can have a deep breath? Do you feel like you might be able to take a vacation, or you might be able to provide for your family or save for retirement? What is it you're feeling? What is it you're doing in your day-to-day? The more crystal clear you can get on that picture, the more convincing it's going to be that it's possible for you to reach that financial goal. And I'm hoping most of you aren't looking out in the future, a year from now, going, God, I'm so stressed still. Like, oh, life hurts. Like, oh, we just had this major financial blow. I want you to think about the best situation a year from now with your finances. What does that look like? I would even write it down. Go for it. write it down. So a year from now, you can look at that and go, oh, hey, look, I reached it. And you can share with me. The next step I want you to do, and this is going to be really empowering, but also very challenging, is I want you to look over the past year. You can either do this for business or personal, whatever you feel like you're struggling the most with. And I want you to go back and list out your top 10 expenses for the last year, whatever cost you the most, whether you do it just like a one-time expense, it was, $2,000, or maybe it was like this monthly expense was a lot of money every single month. And I want you to write out whatever those top 10 expenses are for you over this past year. Some of them might bring up some feelings, good or bad. Some of them might bring up shame, guilt. Some of them might bring up joy, maybe embarrassment, maybe it was funny. And I want you to just look at that 10, and we're going to put it away until tomorrow. Because tomorrow morning when we wake up, after you've had your coffee, I want you to look at this list, and I want you to say, I chose, and then whatever the expense was, because, and then why ever you chose it. Some of you may think that you didn't have a choice. Like, I got a parking ticket, it had to be paid, but it really was your choice. You could have chosen not to pay it. You could have chosen not to pay a parking ticket. There would have been consequences to it, sure. There could have been consequences to any of your choices to pay or not pay something, but that was also your choice. I chose to spend, let's see, in the first 6 months of my business, I chose to spend, it was like $170 a month on this advertising on a TV channel's website that they promised, like, I don't know, 500 clicks to my little ad on the website every month. And then it was sure to result in clients, but they couldn't guarantee any clients. They just guaranteed clicks. And I didn't get a single client from that. So I was locked in a 6-month contract. And I didn't have that money to spend on it. That did not bring me one single dime. That was a poor investment on my choice. However, I chose to spend $170 on that stupid web ad. And my belief around it is that I learned to be a lot more discerning in what I choose to throw my money into, and to really think through what kind of return on investment I can get, because that didn't get me a single client. So heck yeah, it sucked to have to go through that and pay that every single month, but I still could have chosen to do that, because them coming after me for not paying it would have been way more costly to me. And it was a lesson that I apparently needed to learn, that I didn't want to learn, but I needed to learn it. So I can take this situation that cost me, it was like $700 or $800 when it was all said and done, take it as, a lesson I learned. It sucked that I couldn't pay myself that $170, but I know now. And as soon as that contract stopped, that $170 went into my bank account every single month, because I was like, never again will I pay that lesson again. So I want you every day for the next week to look at this top 10 expense list and say, I chose the name of the expense because, and then why did you choose it? I don't care if your belief now is that I didn't get to choose to pay that. You always have a choice. Your thoughts are powerful, and it has caused you to believe that you don't have a choice because you look at your circumstances. But everything you do in your life is a belief and a choice. And so if you feel like you didn't have a choice to pay it, you really did, because there was an alternative of you not paying it. You just instantly chose, that's not the path I want to go down. But how much more are we empowered when finances and our decisions around money are our choice and not a choice of anybody else? And you guys can try and challenge me. If you think that there's an expense that you had that there was not a choice, I will challenge you right back that you had a choice in that. So every day for the next week, look at your top 10 expenses and go, I chose blank because blank. And I want you to see and note how your perspective shifts over the course of a week about these expenses, because some of them may feel heavy and uncomfortable, but over the course of the week, would you start to feel more empowered about the choices that you did make, and even recognizing that you had a choice in it, rather than playing victim, like I have to pay it, I have no choice. You really do have a choice. All right, so you're in control of what you say, what you do, and what you think. So when it comes to money, I challenge you to be more intentional about where you spend your money. Because when we are intentional about where we spend our money, we are in control of it. It's no longer getting out of hand. We're no longer keeping our head in the sand. We're no longer a year from now going, God, I'm still broke, yet I've doubled my income. you are empowered to make choices, and you're also empowered to not make the same choices again if they didn't serve the result that you wanted to get. You've probably heard me say this. My mentor says it all the time. You either get the lesson you need or the result you want. And if you're tired of having the same lesson over and over and over again, then you need to change, not the things that you're trying. Your mindset needs to change to get you the results that you want. Boom. Oh, that one gave me chills. Whew. You guys feeling good? Or are you overwhelmed? I'm kind of worked up. So if you enjoyed today's episode, heck, even if you didn't, but you've made it 69 episodes into this show, you're going to love the free training I created for you that starts on Monday, September 23rd. It's 4 videos inside this free training. Yay, free. Hey, that's an easy choice. Go ahead and choose that. It's 4 video trainings created for lash artists where you'll learn the 3 ways to make more money in your business. So if you feel like that's something that you can start to work on to start increasing the amount of money that comes into your business, I'm giving you 3 different ways, and you'll know after that video training which way that you should be focusing and going all in on. The other 2 can wait. The other videos are where to focus your attention to grow your business. Again, we want to be laser focused on moving your business forward, not doing 70 different things that you may not even. Don't raise your prices if you're not working full-time in your business or you're not fully booked. Let's wait until you get to the point where you're fully booked that you can then raise your prices. So I'm giving you where to focus on your business based on where you're at on the Lash Artist Success Path. So we lay that out in the 3rd video, the step-by-step path that lash artists take to go from just starting out their business to being overlooked, then being overbooked, and then beyond. And then the number 1 way you can create the business of your dreams easier and faster. And we dive into money, mindset, and this kind of stuff. We dive into the mindset of an entrepreneur. I will tell you, from somebody who has gone from like a $2,000 a month business to over a $30,000 a month in a business in less than a year, that the inner work is the most important work that you can do as an entrepreneur. Your results will be a reflection of what's going on inside of that noggin of yours. And so we're going to get into that inside of this free video workshop series called Your Best Year Ever, because I am committed for you having your best year ever. And so this workshop, again, is totally free. It starts on September 23rd, 2019. And to get registered, you do have to register to get access to these videos. Go to lashpreneur.com/yourbest2019. Your Best 2019. And we are doing a giveaway of up to, I think we're at like about $5,000 worth of prizes. We're doing a game show on Instagram Live on Sunday, September 29th, Sunday, September 29th at 4 p.m. Pacific time. If you go through this workshop, you'll have the answers to the giveaway. So you'll already have cheated and be able to get prizes, again, up to $5,000 in prizes. So join this workshop. We are launching the videos starting Monday, September 23rd. You can register at thelashpreneur.com/yourbest2019. YOURBEST 2019. All right, guys, until next week, have a good one.